They've got here a little earlier, I suppose, to the Champions League than even they would have expected. That we have to mention, obviously, the huge financial element in the room, particularly when it comes to these two clubs. But there is a difference, Damien, between having money and spending it well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most crucial piece to the Newcastle jigsaw was getting Dan Ashworth as director of football in. He was the one that would make sure that Newcastle weren't bullied in the transfer market, weren't overspending, and he had the diligence to understand when they were being quoted too high a price and they weren't going to dive in two-footed and get a player and pay over the odds for him, and all of a sudden now, you get a bloated squad and it can disintegrate very, very fast. Having that amount of money is a blessing and it's brilliant, but can also cause you a huge amount of problems, if you start getting a bloated squad and spending too recklessly. And I think with Dan Ashworth at the helm, controlling that, the experience of dealing with the European market, the English market, and knowing when to walk away from a deal. And I think Newcastle probably have been linked with an awful lot of players since the takeover, but I'd say they've walked away behind the scenes. They must have walked away from a lot of deals, and they've bought well, they've spent wisely, and even look at the figures that were on screen there. It's not huge amount of numbers. It's spent well in the right areas, and they've brought in the right players to keep the club moving forward at a good pace.
It's also getting rid of certain players that maybe won't be of such use to them going forward. But what Eddie Howe has done, Richard, also is turn the likes of Joe Linton, Miguel Almiron, from players who were facing relegation only 18 months ago now into players that are in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's been brilliant because he's managed the whole squad rather than just fill it full of superstars. He's gone with a slow sort of process of trying to build a squad and a team rather than just popping superstars into it. And the way that the players have reacted to him shows how good his man management has been. I think over a period of time you will see the star players that they've got now may become the squad players going forward, because Newcastle will continue to grow and get bigger, and they'll attract bigger and better footballers all the time. So it's going to be a balance for him to try and keep those players that are there now happy, even though they may not get the games going forward. But the fact that he's got them so far on limited purchases so far is a real big credit to him.